You're watching Hot Walk Academy. My name is Mingjin Tong. Today we are making one of my wife's favorites. It's a savory roasted mushroom medley. I learned it from a good friend of mine, Chef Yia Vang here in the Twin Cities. So get your ingredients and let's cook. All right, quick review of our ingredients. For our mushrooms, this is a king oyster mushroom. If you've not used this product before, I highly recommend it. A couple reasons why. These are very economical to buy and they are so hearty and so delicious. They don't shrink a lot when you cook them and they really are a great mushroom to work with. So king oyster mushrooms, and these are oyster mushrooms. These are also a fantastic product. You may have seen these at the grocery store before. Don't be afraid to buy them, try them. They're really awesome to cook with. And then of course, here we have the shiitake mushroom. And these ones are fresh shiitake. You can also buy these at Asian grocery stores dried. You'll find them dried many times, but get the fresh ones sometime, try it out, and they're really, really great to cook with. For our garnish at the very end, we're just gonna mince up 2 scallions and throw that on top as a nice green for when it's all finished. And for our seasonings, we're gonna have brown sugar for a bit of sweetness. We're gonna have salt, obviously. This is just white distilled vinegar, and this really helps to cut some of that meaty and maybe that oily flavor that we'll have. Canola oil, we add canola oil to help the mushroom actually sizzle when we roast it off. And then 2 flavor profiles to add. One is this Gold Mountain Thai style soy sauce, which already is sweet, very savory, a great product to add, very light soy sauce. And then this one here is fish sauce. Now, if you are a vegetarian or you want to stay away from meat products, this is the only item you need to cut out. You can replace that with MSG, and that's really all you need to make this into a vegetarian dish. So let's start by just getting our scallions out of the way. All we really want to do is have something green. It's always nice when you're done to serve your dish and to have a variety of colors. So the mushrooms are going to come out brown and a little bit of burned pieces, which will be really great. And then to kind of offset that, it's nice just to present it with some scallions. So we'll go ahead and do that. You can use the stalk and the green, and we'll just get that set off to the side. Okay, this is a really quick recipe. So here's what we're going to do. For the oyster mushroom, when you buy it, the whole thing is edible. It's already washed, it's already trimmed. So for this particular one, we're gonna be doing a roll cut. I like the roll cut because it creates interesting pieces, interesting shapes, but because of the shape of the oyster mushroom, the way we're gonna do these is we simply peel these apart. And you see how thin that is? You don't want your mushrooms to cook at different speeds. So when we do the roll cut, we are likewise going to do a pretty thin cut. So when you roast it, it cooks at the same speed, all right? So we'll just, again, for your roll cut, all you really want to do is keep it down and knife at an angle, and you just turn that oyster mushroom toward you every time you make a cut. I'm going a little thick here. You can also go a little thin. If you want, you can also just rough cut this. It really doesn't matter. If you're gonna be using this particular dish as a topping, you'll wanna rough cut it a little bit smaller than this. But this is what we'll do here. Let me just kind of get this finished off. All right, get yourself a large bowl, because you are gonna be tossing all of your mushrooms together with your sauces at the end. So make sure you get a bowl with a nice high side so that you can toss it and you don't lose your product. All right, let's go ahead and finish this one here. If you do go a little chunkier and not the same thinness as the oyster mushroom, it'll be all right. Keep in mind, these mushrooms are actually edible raw. You'll be just fine. And so we're not really too concerned about trying to cook it through like you would a meat product. For these oyster mushrooms, they come like this, and sometimes they come, let me see if I can find a big piece here. Look at this. This is how it grows, and all of these are stuck together. Now, at times when you buy it, you may find a clump of dirt at the bottom. Of course, you'll want to remove it. Most of the time though, when you find oyster mushrooms, they are already clean and ready to go. You could just take it, and for prep, it's so easy. All you need to do is take it and tear it apart, and you're ready to go for that. Some of these smaller ones, you could just tear them right off. It's so easy to prep these. These are fun. And some of these, you could just break them, totally fine. You don't have a woody end here, which means you can go ahead and go with it. If you do have a woody end, what you can do is just cut that woody end off and you'll be just fine. Let's go ahead and finish these. Okay, here's a good example of a woody end. So I don't necessarily want to include this in my food. So I'll just kind of take a knife, cut that off, and from here you could just finish peeling. These break apart real easy, and they're very, very savory when they cook up. They're just a fantastic product. Mushrooms are like little sponges, and they naturally have a lot of water. So when we cook at them, what you want to do is you don't want to have any extra moisture on the outside. It kind of helps the mushroom, especially when we roast it, to caramelize on the outside if you don't have extra moisture like water. So it's best not to wash your mushrooms if you're able to. Of course, if they're really dirty, rinse them off, and then of course you can dry them. For shiitake mushrooms, this is how the stem comes out. These stems are really, really firmly attached to the mushroom cap. And so if you try to cut it out, it's actually a little bit difficult, but the easiest way is I've found you can just kind of push it down, hold that cap in your hand, and that will just come right out, just like that, okay? And then I'm gonna do all these, remove all these stems first. It's a really, really woody stem. You can, if you want, save the stem of the mushroom, throw it into a broth, but for now I'm just gonna compost these. And these stems, they don't cook up very well. Even if you cook them a really long time, they remain really, really woody and really hard to eat. So I like to remove them and just cook with the cap of shiitake. Again, just wanna roll each one out just like that. Okay, now, for these mushroom caps, because we roll cut the king oyster mushroom, I actually just want to do a rough chop on these. I'm not too concerned about the way it looks. It is going to be roasted down. So I'm going to go ahead and just go all the way through here. And you see how that style is going to kind of match the way that the king oyster mushroom looked. Just kind of a rough chop for odd, irregular shapes. And they should be all about the same size. All right. And there you're ready to go. Let's go ahead and get these into our mixing bowl. Okay. Now, all we need to do is start to season it. So I do want a little bit of salt. Keep in mind, if you're using fish sauce has a lot of salt in it. In fact, you can see right here, in my fish sauce bottle, there's actually a chunk of salt sitting there at the bottom, which means this liquid has absorbed as much sodium as it possibly can. It cannot absorb anymore. That's a very salty condiment. So don't put too much salt, but you do want to add a little bit. All right. Here's some brown sugar. Brown sugar will help the mushrooms to caramelize. You don't want to add a lot. I don't really want to have a sweet mushroom. That's not the point. The point of the sugar is to help in the caramelization product when we get it into the oven. Okay, so just a little bit of sugar, and I'll hit it with the fish sauce now. Again, very strong. And if you don't want to, if you want a vegetarian meal, you can just leave this out. All right. Soy sauce for that nuttiness. And this Thai soy sauce, again, has a little bit of sweetness to it already. And this is another source of sodium. All right. Vegetable oil to help the cooking process. If you don't have oil, you only have water and the mushroom material, and it's not going to be able to sizzle in the oven. So let's go ahead and put a good amount of oil on there to help it sizzle in the oven. And then of course this last piece here is vinegar. My mom's old trick, put your finger over for control. A little bit of vinegar on there. All right. And let's go ahead and give that a toss. Oh, keep it in the bowl, not like me. All right. And always, 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 when you're cooking, taste your food. This is your opportunity to check to see if your seasonings are what you want. Does it have a sweetness? Does it have the acid flavor from the vinegar? And is it savory? Let's go ahead and try a piece here. I'll try a piece of the oyster mushroom. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and get that onto our roasting pan. I've got my oven at 425. You could bring your oven all the way as high as 450 degrees to get that roast. And I'll go ahead and just add it right here. And when you're roasting any kind of a veggie or roasting your mushrooms, you do want to have plenty of space. So spread that out as much as you can. All right, that looks great. Let's get that in the oven at 425 and we'll pull it out in just a minute. When you roast your mushrooms, if you have a convection oven, turn that on. You want that hot air swirling around. It is actually the hot air interacting with the oil that's cooking the mushrooms. And I've had mine in now for about 12 minutes. And let's go ahead and pull it out. It is totally ready. So let's go ahead and grab that. Oh, great sizzle. Oh, look at my glasses steaming up there. All right. All right, so here is our roasted savory mushroom medley. You can go ahead and get them plated. And don't forget to sprinkle them with your scallions. I could just smell it. It just smells so amazing. And the texture of these mushrooms is just so wonderful. All right. All right, that's looking beautiful. And let's get some scallions on there. All right. This is our savory roasted mushroom medley. We hope you cook along and try it. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you love it, please share with a friend. Thanks again.